wifey. Yo, what's up, Dave? Thanks for the subscription. I'm just doing some scratching. How you been? I remember the last time I was doing this, I had accidentally routed the beats that I was scratching to after my sound card. So I was basically just scratching to no beats. Yeah, let's scratch to beats that I actually made. Let's try that. Oh no, I forgot to turn off my notifications. Check. I'm just gonna wait a little bit, see if more people show up, and then I'm just gonna get started. I'm gonna work on some arrangement today. See if kind of continuing on with that tune that we were working on last week. See if I can get a little bit more out of this. In terms of some extra volume. I'm not sure if I can. I can probably do it from here. Boo, boo, boo. Filters. Bring the gain up a little bit. How's that? It's a little quieter than the scratching that I was doing. here. There's a couple more people jumped in. How's it going? For those that are just jumping in, my name is DJ Sue. I'm a DJ. I usually DJ, but I'm starting to... Figured I'd kind of get on and do some production streams and stuff. At the very least, it forces me to work on music once a week on a scheduled time. So, the other day we worked on a beat here. Let's see if I can remember. Let's see. We had like drums that kind of sounded like this. And then we had some horns. Kind of like that. And I had a sample like this that I got from Micro Freak. Half of it, and then I had a bass line that kind of went like this. I think it's more or less where we left off. I had probably had a couple other things in there. So in the time since, it was basically based off of this sample. This is just a pattern that I played out on a synth. It's kind of like had a sequenced pattern, and I just kind of played some notes. Very kind of standard chord change of a semitone. So I kind of messed around, and I was like, this thing actually needs like a break. So I kind of found this break. Let's see if I can. Here, let me get to it. Break. Here we go. I think it's that's it. I think that's all I used. So I kind of like chopped it up like. So that's kind of what I've got here. So I added in that fill as well. So this is the fill. Oops. That's a nice one. And then, I decided to add a drum break. So I started with this. Oh yeah, I think I have this shaker too. There we go. Now we got a snare drum. Hi-hat. Yeah, the snare drum has this, the drum has this cool snare that I use, like. So that was a cool sound. So I got that. And then I added this on my percussion. I've got this. This is just me recording a little egg shaker, but I also added a couple of. I've got this like. Let's see. These whatchamacallits. Yeah, the cowbells. And then I found these cool cinematic drum sounds. Like, so this is kind of how the whole thing sounds together. So I added this sub kind of bass in here. It sounds like this. So those little pitch bends are actually kind of a pain in the ass to do in an MPC. The sub is it's a key group. So what a key group is if you're using Ableton, it's kind of like the simpler sampler. You can slot in samples into it, and then it maps it to a keyboard, and then you go up and down. It goes up and down in pitch, and you can multi-sample it, so you don't have like one sample spanning 62 keys. It's you slot in a sample every like 6 notes or something like that, so you get a consistent sort of sound. But one of the biggest complaints on the MPC is it's really hard to get any pitch bends. You can automate a pitch wheel. Let's see if I have anything going here. No, I don't. Audio input. There we go. One of the most annoying things is if you solo something, you can't unsolo it unless you go back. There we go. So I've got this synth over here. You can't see it at the top to the side, but you get this pitch wheel. So unfortunately, the only MIDI controller I have that has a pitch wheel is giant and heavy, and I don't have any space to put it up. So I'm selling that thing. I'm trying to get something smaller. But there's another way to automate it, and it's sort of hidden away in this little thing called Q-Links. And then you go into audio track. No, I don't want to be an audio track. You go to MIDI. Go to Q-Links, and then I had to map these buttons. There's one called Portamento Time, Portamento Legato, and Portamento Quantize. So when I turn on Portamento, let's see, I can play. Seems to only kind of go up, but we'll figure that part out. But I figured, like, I didn't want every note to do that, and I figured out that you can just automate this legato. So with legato off, why is it doing that? Do I have you know what, I might have something going on here. Let's see. LFO modulation. Ah, that's why. Think about that. Let's get rid of all of that. I don't know why that's bending it up, but it pitch slides up, but not down for some reason. I don't know why that's doing that. But that's okay. It sounds good. So we'll figure that out at another point. But anyways, yeah, I just kind of added that as a bass. Oh, there we go. There's this bass that I kind of So there's that, and then I came up with this sound too. I wanted to keep the halftime kind of drums as sort of like a breakdown. Right, and then there's this kind of lead that kind of fits with it. Yeah, it is kind of Thurman-y. I kind of it fit with the spooky vibe. And then I got a few. It is I can mute certain things I don't need, and then unmute certain things I don't need as I work it out. So this is kind of how I've developed my workflow on the MPC. Is that I've kind of this is the top level. This is everything that I want in the tune. I want to put a couple more things in there, but I'm going to wait till I structure it. So there's going to be two ways that I would do this. The first way would just be bounce all this out as 8-bar loops and throw that into Ableton. I'm not going to do that because I should have done that ahead of time, but I want to kind of do it in the MPC for this one. Partially because I really want to start using this in live performances somehow, and I haven't quite figured out how. But in order to do that, I really need to like have it mixed down within the box, which is a lot more challenging than doing it in Ableton. I don't have access to the same level of plugins. I don't have like this is the mixer. This is really confusing, I gotta say. It's, there's each of the pad, like you got your program mixer, your track mixer, your MIDI track mixer, your returns, which you only have 4 of them, your submixes, which you only have 8 of them, and then your masters, which you have 4, but this machine only has 3. They just didn't bother to get rid of the 4th one because one of their other machines has a 4th one. So it's, you got to remember where things are. And the way the effects work is, especially on a drum machine, each pad has its own set of effects. Each program, which is basically the instrument, has its own set of effects. And then you can go into each of the submixes, has its own set of effects. I have the drums routed to this is basically, it's got my send returns, which is the compression and reverb, and it's got basically the kick and snare and the break going to here, and that's running through a hardware compressor. Right, and then I have this, which is just the shaker. And I don't quite remember why I needed to have this shaker on a completely separate thing. I think it's because I wanted to add some kind of effects to it, but I just never did. And then the same with this. This is just the hi-hats. Now, I don't know why that's getting that. See, there's something else going wrong here. For some reason, this should not be getting that. Now I know I had the wrong one of the wrong things loaded. Anyways, that's this should just be hi-hats. There we go, and crash. Hey, what's up? How's it going? I'm just kind of like working out the routing, and we're going to talk about making actually structuring a song using my various loops. I've done a bunch of work on this sort of tune that we started working on last week, so this is kind of where we're at with that. So basically, like, this is just 8 bars, and each of these things loops for 8 bars, and then you basically use these track mutes to turn them on and off, and then you can automate them. So if you hit overdub and then you press it and then unpress it, it'll actually record. So that's kind of cool. So how do we turn that into a song? Well, there's a couple ways you can do it. Like I said earlier, it was one of the easiest ways to do is just export these stems, dump them into Ableton, copy, 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 and then start deleting the things you don't want, doing your edits, kind of doing your micro edits, moving things around, that kind of thing. I will eventually do that. I'm not going to do that right now because I kind of want to work out the structure on the MPC itself. So I spent pretty much the last 4 or 5 days hammering out the structure just by muting tracks and unmuting tracks. So I'll just show you kind of what I've come up with. So this is the intro. Now I've added the percussion layer. I'm going to switch out the drums. bring in the horn and the sub bass at the same time. Throw in some effects. We're going to go to a breakdown. Bring in the bass. Gotta take out the other sub bass and the sample for it. Right, and we'll do this. This for a little bit. And we're going to go to another breakdown. It's just 8 bar loop. I've got nothing else set up right now. Then we got an outro. So I kind of like, that took a while to figure out, just kind of like muting things in and out, trying to figure these things out. So so yeah, that's cool. I've got a song essentially. I want to add a couple things here and there, but how would you structure that? Because this is literally just 8 bars. Everything is just looping for 8 bars. This is all there is. So the MPC has what's called a song mode. And what it allows you to do is put together a bunch of stuff. So I've got this sequence here, and so I kind of divide up the song into multiple chunks. So what I'm going to do is copy sequence, and I'm going to call this intro right here. All right? So do it. And so I have this intro sequence. I'm just going to like go in. This is the full one. And then this is the intro. This is the exact copy. So this intro was 8 bars. I wanted to just have this part here. right? But the other thing you can do is automate your mutes. So about 4 bars into it, I brought in the percussion. So if I hit overdub, so, all right, there you go. I got an 8-bar intro. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to copy this again. Copy the sequence. I'm going to call this intro 2. Do it. I love how it just says do it. And then we go to intro 2. And then that, we don't want this. This is a... This doesn't have any snare, so I want this snare, I want that break to go, I want the perk, and I want the hats to go. And so now I've got this. All right, so there's no automation needed there, so we're going to go back again, and then we're going to go copy that one more time. We're going to call this first drop. Like so, do it. And so you just kind of go through it and say, all right, so this part I want that. And I want the drums as well. So make sure I got everything, yeah. I want the horns as well. All right, I do want to automate this effects. So this effect's the reason I want to automate it is I have this sort of like down sweep at the beginning and then an up sweep at the end. I don't want that down sweep to hit, so. Turn on its own. All right, so we're going to just keep going. And go back to our master sequence. I'm going to call it break down 1. Do it. And what do we want here? We wanted no drums. We want the percussion to keep going. We wanted sub and the sample and the horn keep going. And actually, I'm going to undo that. I want the effects going. And then we're going to go, we'll copy that again. And we'll go break down bass. Do it, do it. And on breakdown bass, we just add the growl bass and then take out the sample and the sub. All right, that's easy. And then we'll copy that again. And we'll call it bass drop. Do it, do it, and go into here. And then we want this drum's gone and the drums and the hat back, so it'll sound like this. But I don't want that swishy sound to start, so I'm gonna do this. bass drop. I don't know if I need to do a second one because I can always go back to this, I think. Actually, no, it doesn't have the effects on, so... I don't remember if this automates or not. Alright, so we can just go back to the first drop. And then we need to go to our second breakdown. We'll go back to the master sequence. And we go break down 2. Do it. All right. So breakdown 2 is going to have the half tempo drums, no hi-hats, the horn, the sample sub, the effects on, and then these rolls. Oh, and get rid of the break. Let's get rid of the FX3. Get rid of that. All right, and then we're going to go one more copy. So basically I'm just copying out and building my chunks. All right, we're going to call this breakdown 2 lead. Okay. And this will have drums half, no hats, percussion. Is this what we got? So we have that, and then we're gonna go one more. I think no, we gotta do the back and forth thing too. So this will be lead, drop, and go do it. So this will have this, lead on, subsample, horn. There we go. All right, and here comes the fun part. This is the call and response. So we'll go sequence, call, response. Okay. And we will just do, what are we going to do? This one you basically have to record live. So we've got break, drums, hats. I want the growl bass on, effects on, and then I want time correction on so that the mutes are quantized. And we're going to start recording. So Woo! think we just need the outro. So we'll just go all the way back. Sequence, we'll just call this outro. Do it. And outro is just going to be the sub, the drums. How about just this? All right, so now I have this series of sequences that I can kind of like play, and they'll sort of, you set it up with an intro, and then I twist it forward, and then when that 8 bars ends, it'll just load up the next one. You can do it in any order you want. So then you go into menu and hit the song mode, and you have what's here. You got all your sequences. So I've got my sort of building blocks. I got my intro 2, breakdown, that kind of thing, and then you can just basically hit overdub, and then you just kind of put them on. So I'm gonna go intro for 8 bars, and you can choose how many loops it does. Just go to intro 2, first drop, breakdown, breakdown with bass drop, breakdown 2, breakdown with lead drop, call and response, and I'll do it twice. And did I do that? No, I wanted to do something else, didn't I? I wanted to go breakdown 2, bass drop. Yes, I messed that up. All right, we're gonna clear this because there's no way to kind of get in there, which sucks. I'm gonna go intro 2, first drop, breakdown, bass drop, and then first drop again, then breakdown, lead drop, call and response, do that twice, outro, and then intro as my outro, and that's it. And I have a 73 bar song that I think is about 4 minutes or so, and if I start playing from here, I'll turn off overdub, it'll just kind of go down. I forgot I wanted to do intro 2. We want to get the sample going immediately. There we go. That'll play now. So yeah, that's how you build a song in an MPC using song mode. And then you can bounce it out as a single file. You could bounce it out as stems. There's other things you can do. For instance, I can take my drums, I can explode the drums, and that basically just separates all the sounds as one, which I did at first, but I found it was got a little messy because I have multiple hi-hats, because I've got these 4 kind of, right, and each of these pads would become its own track. So instead, what I just did was I'd work out my drum pattern in one, I could probably show you here. Maybe not. I'll work out the drum pattern in one track like that, and then when I'm done, I'll copy it out into like hi-hats and percussion, and then just kind of delete what I don't need. And then I have, each of those separate things all on its own track. So, but the nice thing is now that I've got all these sequences down, I can start, going in and fine-tuning. I can change some things. So the danger with the MPC, though, I find is once you go too far into kind of editing and mixing down and that kind of thing, you can make it a little too difficult to export out into Ableton. Because let's say I get to a certain point, I want to be like, okay, I want to start doing things in Ableton. Because honestly, certain things are so much easier in Ableton, like those swishes, those FX risers and whatnots, the fills, the little micro edits. Those are kind of a pain to do in an MPC, because you're using your little finger, you're like moving, you're zooming in and out. You can't. It's really hard to get precision. It's really hard to get precision automation. Automation on this thing is terrible. Like aftertouch. I don't even know why this aftertouch is here. I can just get rid of it. But like let's say I want to get a linear like thing like that, I can't really do it. This is the closest I can get. But let's say I want to stop here and make it flat, I can't. Like there's no tools to set that up like you can do in Ableton. So it's always a choice at the end of the day for me. It's like, do I want to get this in Ableton now, or do I want to do some more stuff in the MPC before I get into Ableton? So yeah, but I think at the end of the day, because everything's like drawing on the same kind of patterns, it doesn't matter which sequence. These sequences are just like note triggers, that kind of thing. Like all your effects are the same, all your your mix decisions are the same, whatever your levels are always the same when you kind of flip back and forth between them. So it stays consistent. So yeah, that's kind of this tune. I think I'm gonna get this out into Ableton, but and kind of fine tune it and do some mixes. But the I don't know. Like here, let me show you what I've been doing with this kind of setup. I'm gonna go into my screen. So this is Ableton. So the MPC, this one is the MPC Live. Here, let me just show you again. This is a Live Mark II. So it's got 6 mono outs, or 3 sets of stereo outs that I can just run. So I've got one set running through actually my DBX drive rack, which has a compressor on it, and I like to run my drums through that. I've got another running through a new compressor that I'm still trying to learn, which is the Radius 3 Fat Man. And then I've got one set of outs that are just clean, where it's not running through anything. So I've got Ableton here, and I've got my sets. So I run the drums. So if we go into my mix and start looking at my submixes, I've got these 3 drum sets running through the output that runs through my DBX compressor. I've got these 3 outputs running through my other compressor. And then I've got these 2, which is my bass. And what's this? Why is this going? Okay, so I've got, I'd like to have my bass relatively unprocessed, especially the sub bass. I can mess around with it in Ableton. And then on my returns, I've got my returns going to 5 and 6, which is my drum output. So basically what I would do is just arm all these tracks in Ableton. Actually, you know what? I need to turn that off because I'll get the double thing. I need to save this as a template first. MPC recording. Recording. Save. And so my highs are, so here's the annoying part. On the MPC, these are labeled 1, 2, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But on Ableton, thanks to my Mo2 sound card, there would be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So my bass should be 3, 4. My highs should be 5, 6, and my drums should be 7, 8. Let's see if that's the case. Yeah, all the relevant things are going. So really what I'd just do is, what I'd normally do is just go into my song mode and hit record on Ableton and then just record it, and it should record it out into 3 separate tracks and running through various forms of compression. Let's see how that sounds. Oh, actually, I don't want to do that just yet. I have to arm all 3 tracks. I have to set all 3 tracks to input. And then let's make this the same BPM as what's in the MPC. And then we're just going to go. Yeah, I gotta say that the best way I think to approach it is to stem it all out. My thing is I really want to use these hardware compressors. I've got this thing mixed using I've got this thing leveled using my sound card's internal mixing board. I don't think that's translating to Ableton at all, so I gotta kind of readjust that. we go. So now I have Ableton. I have these tracks in Ableton. I can turn these back into tracks we can listen to. So I'm going to adjust the volumes kind of according to what I have here. This is going down by about 8 dB. This is down by about 8 dB. Actually, let's go 6 dB. And this should be a little bit closer in terms of so that's a lot quieter. Let's just throw a limiter on there. So then I can sort of do some additional processing on here if I want to. Like for instance, on my highs, can you see my? No, you can't. We'll use Ableton's plugins rather than Pro Q. Audio effects, EQ8. So for instance, I can just cut the highs on sort of the highs, like so. So this bass came in really quiet, so I'm just going to jack it up a bit. Throw some processing on the drums. It's like, let's throw the drum bus plugin on there. So yeah, that's one of the things. That's one of the ways you can do it. I kind of like. I'm still trying to decide what I like better. I really like running it through the hardware plugins, but I haven't been able to figure out how to run Ableton to loop through my hardware processing. I don't know. Like I've always had trouble getting Ableton working exactly well with the sound card. I've got this ancient Mode 2 sound card that I kind of been wanting to replace, but still works. So I just don't see the need to spend more money on it. But yeah, so the other option would just be to go into here. Let me just switch my screen out real quick. Top down. So I've got this my sequence 8-bar new. So this is everything. This is my whole track. So I would go into, how would I want to do this? I would go into here. I would want to export, and I would go audio mix down, and I would want to explode my tracks as waves, and as this would just explode. This would basically export everything out as stems. So let's go 24-bit sound, 48 kilohertz. We'll export the returns while we're at it. And yeah, and then export it into my MPC card, into Spooky Track, and then we'll call it stems. And go do it and save. And this is going to take a while because I think there's something like, there's probably like 16 tracks, 17 tracks in this. So while we're kind of doing that, yeah, we can take a look at this. So one thing I like to do, because oftentimes it'll record a little bit quiet, and I just like to jack up the internal, the clip gain. That's really loud. And then jack this up a bit so I don't have to, make sure it doesn't clip. These drums are already pretty loud. And then you can just bring down the, then you have like more headroom to mess around with levels wise. So let's see where we're at with this. So for the first time ever, I actually bought a plugin thanks to some Facebook ads, and it's this Baby Audio Smooth Operator, which is let's see if I can show you. Let's get another screen window capture. Smooth Operator. Does it actually show up? Do plugins show up? I guess they don't. I guess I need to, like, instead of sharing my screen, I should be sharing my desktop. So you can sort of see. Well, can I even do that? Dock, desktop picture. I don't do screen sharings very much. No, that does not work at all. Anyways, Smooth Operator is a ooh, here we go. My whatchamacallits, my stems have come out, so I need to actually do save. I need to pull out my my card and throw that into Ableton. So yeah, I don't know. I think the original plan was to use the MPC as a track starter and then finish everything in Ableton, and it's incredibly effective for that. The problem is I kind of want to do it for live performances too. So when I'm kind of playing live performances, I'm going to want certain tracks to be mixed down pretty well, because see, I got my stems. Yeah, it's a lot of stems. So I'm going to take my stems and throw it into my Dropbox, to my projects, into my upcoming EP. And I'm going to create a new thing saying my EP is rapidly becoming an album. I really got to finish some tracks. Spooky track. And then copy my stems on there. So, yeah, so what I would do is get rid of all that and make a bunch of audio tracks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Let's see how many that works out to be. And then start dropping things in. So oh no. It seemed to have crapped out on the first hit. Oh, that's not good. Oh man, So I don't know what went wrong there because my kick drum seems to have not exported. So we're going to have to figure that part out. This is all kind of uncharted. A lot of this is uncharted territory for me. I've only done this to one track in the past. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I don't know what to do next. Could work on another track. I could start a new track. I could mess around with some other stuff. I don't know. Is there anything y'all want to see or hear? That was a lot shorter than I thought. That took a lot less time than I thought it would take to kind of get all that stuff out. I can see what else I can do on this thing. Interesting that the drums didn't properly export out. I'm really curious as to why that is. Let's see if it makes a difference when I start playing it again. Here. Did I mute everything? Maybe that's maybe it's because I muted a bunch of stuff. I guess there's things I should probably just delete too. Let's try that. I'm just going to try this one more time. So we're going to go here. We're going to export. We're going to explode tracks. I'm going to go... We're not going to export the returns. Start bar, end bar, audio tail, 1 second. Let's see if this does it better. Or is there another way to do it? Events, double length, bounce to sample, transpose. Erase, delete bars, bars. Nope, that's not it. Yeah, I guess this is the way to do it. I'll export, explode tracks, and I'm not going to bounce the returns this time. We're going to go stems to another complaint I have on this thing is there doesn't seem to be any way to delete anything from the cards or your hard drive directly in the MPC. You basically have to put it into your computer or plug it in via USB. So yeah, I really like this thing. I like how kind of quick it is. I mean, at the same time, it's really slow at other things, but it just getting the ideas out quickly, like this track that I've more or less completed. You know, it needs a mix down. It needs a couple things to it, but like it's a song at this point. And that was, you know, I started it on Monday with on the stream, and it's exactly a week later, and I've got a song. And I got to say that didn't used to happen before on Ableton. Like sometimes I'd be working on things for a month, 2 months, like weeks here or there. So it's a lot of fun. I do have to finish some tunes. I feel like I've gotten some tunes finished on these, but there's a couple more I really want to get into Ableton and really fine tune and sort of get all that stuff going. Yeah, the file system, like just the search method in the browser on the MPC is just not good. Like you can't, it doesn't search within folders. So if you type something in the search bar, all it shows is what's in your immediate folder that you're in. So if you've got like a folder full of snares, it won't show you any of the folders that anything within those folders. So it's kind of like a, it's weird. It's kind of like a really rudimentary, like it's like being on Windows 95 or something like that. So hopefully, I don't know. They say that the 3.0 update is coming out soon. So maybe maybe they'll have more stuff. Who knows? Hopefully. But yeah, there's it's different, and I think I like it, and it's just nice. There's Pogo. He's kind of went viral with a couple like video sample-based remixes on YouTube like a long time ago, and he's kind of been making music ever since. He just put out a video on the MPC. Yeah, that guy. He just put out. I guess he just got an MPC, and he put out a video on it. It's a really good video, just kind of detailing what's so cool about it. But it's on tons of like cool beats, like little snippets of the music he's been making on it, and yeah, and it's like one of the things you mentioned. It's like you're using your hands, and it feels like you're gardening sometimes. Like, half the time when I was on Ableton, I was just like, like your eyes are glued to a screen, your one hand's on a mouse. Like I barely even use MIDI controllers, and I'm just like, a lot of the times, like this thing doesn't have any EQs that are, graphic, which is kind of a pain, but at the same time, it's like, wow, I actually have to listen. I have to use my ears now. And a lot of times I wasn't. I was just like, okay, let's find the fundamentals frequency there. Let's, put a cut here. And that was it. So that was kind of, I've kind of enjoyed that part. Kind of going back to the ears. I mean, obviously, if, it always helps. Like, I just grabbed Fab Filter Pro Q3, and that's just a fantastic, fantastic EQ. But, all right, let's see if this worked. I want to just see. PC projects, spooky track. Let's ditch these. Let's ditch these. Let's copy these new ones in. Let's see. That's weird. All right, I don't know what's going on. Maybe this is gonna be a track I have to finish on the MPC, because for whatever reason, when I'm exploding out my tracks, one of my kicks isn't working. So yeah, and that's the other problem, is shit like this happens, and you're like, why is this happening? Yeah, apparently he's gotten out of it. It seems like. Yeah, he did go down the alt-right rabbit hole. But recently I watched a video of his, and he talked about, he never really came out and said it, but he talked about he was quitting social media because it was sending him down the wrong path. And I'd choose to believe that maybe he's kind of figured that part out, but who knows? Yeah, it sucks when you find out stuff like that happens. Why? Oh, all right. Yeah, maybe I don't know why that would be, why it's not exporting out my certain kick drums, or why certain things are not coming out the way they should. Like my percussion's not working. Yeah, I had this problem before as well. Like, and it was after I had gone into song mode. Like, just certain things aren't working anymore, and they're not exporting out. So that worked. wonder why that is happening. That's really strange. Huh. I wonder if it's because I'm running multiple drum patterns at once. And it's kind of like canceling each other out. Because usually I just have the one drum. But for this one I tried like 4 different drum patterns so I could flip back and forth between them. So I wonder if that has something to do with it. Because it's like trying to bounce out a few things. Yeah. Well, it looks like this part's not happening. I don't know what I'm going to do with that, but I do have... this might be one of the ones where I have to do the recording and do the mix down with the buses as opposed to having full control over everything. So, but yeah. Make this big again. That's weird. You can hear all the side chaining in there. Yeah, there's probably a few things I would change up about the mix. I probably want to re-record that. I think the effects are coming in a little bit too loud. I think the bass overtone might come down a little bit. I don't know, it sounds pretty good. And then I think I'm going to avoid recording out the send returns, and I'll just use the send returns in Ableton and kind of get that sort of set up through there instead of using the MPC ones. So yeah, there's a lot of work to be done on this in terms of mixing. But yeah, I do want to get most of it done in the MPC just so I can play this stuff live, just kind of triggering track mutes and whatnot. Yeah. But I don't know. I think this track is sounding pretty cool. Could use something. Could always use something. I feel like a lot of these tracks could use like a vocal or something like that. Or even, not even necessarily like somebody singing or rapping over it, but just like little vocal snippets and whatnot. I think that works out nicer in Ableton. Let's see if I can find anything. I was kind of messing around with this. brilliant sound when the MPC starts up. I'll squeak. Another thing I don't like about this thing is you can't use it as a sound card. Like, I would want to be able to plug it in and use it as like a multi-track sound card. That would be awesome. Like, I think it's got 2 ins, so it'd be like a 2-in, 6-out sound card. But they don't make that possible, so I don't know why. I know some of the Roland Groove boxes you can just plug it in and you can use it in Ableton, and you can like map out certain channels to specific tracks in Ableton or Logic or whatever DAW you want to use. I think that's amazing. This is something I kind of was messing around with.
This is how we. This is how we rock. This is how we rock. This is how we rock. This is how we rock.
Honestly, it is a little bit. I mean, you can do it. You can get a mix in the box. Like the plugins in it. The plugins in it sound pretty good, to be honest. I really like the EQ is. I like it. So you got 4 bands: high, mid, low. The highs and the lows you can switch from a shelf to a bell, and then but on top of that, you've got these 2 filters on either end, and you can adjust the slope of the filter from 6 dB to 24 dB, which is nice. And you know, it's it's essentially like a 6-band EQ with 2 filters on either end, and then 2 of the bands can be shelves or whatnot. Make a key group of a bunch of different bass samples instead of having them track all the way up and down like a normal multi-sample. Each zone is pitched down. Yeah, you can do that. You can do anything you want. One of the things that here, one of the things I wanted to try with like the live aspect of it. Do I want to save changes I made to Spooky Track? Sure, why not? Got a backup of it. So if you, I don't know if you've checked out like the cycle feature in the drum machine, but let's say we have a, let's just create a new track. Let's see. Let's bring this down. Nope. So let's see how we would do this. Let's just do a. Let's just load up a. That's fine. Just load up a generic drum kit in here. metronome on. Excuse me. Let's see. So, let's see. That's not what I want. Not the most inspired thing in the world, but I just want to try something. I saw this on a video. I just want to see how it works out. So, yeah, a legato feature like in Ableton would be really nice, where you just automatically legato all the notes. So this is something that you can experiment with. This is my first time doing it. So I've got these like bass notes. They're all just basic kind of boring bass notes. I'm gonna bounce this to an audio track. I'm going to sample edit this, and I'm going to okay, I don't want to bounce that particular one. I don't want that overlap. There we go. Yeah. So let's ditch this and then go back into MIDI. All right, bounce to sample. There we go, sample edit. There we go, and then we'll just chop this up according to BPM, and we'll go. There we go. That's cool. Well, it's not really cool. It's boring as all fuck, but I just want to try this. So new drum program using slices. Do it. And so, actually, no, I don't want to do that. I want to bounce. Convert. I want to do new drum program with new samples. Do it. All right. So I'm going to have my drum track. I'm going to turn this note into that bass line and see what we can do. So we'll go program edit and go into my samples. I'm going to change this to bounce bass. So I've got bounce, this one's 1. I'm going to go layer 2. I'm going to go bounce bass 2. Layer 3, I'm going to go bounce bass 3. Layer 4, I'm going to go bounce bass 4. Just playing it all at once. But if you go into your modulation and you go into cycle, you can even random. So you can cycle through the notes. So you can make a bass line and you can play it in real time by just hitting the one sample. I mean, it would have to be a four note bass line, like, or you can randomize it. So I would probably want to and give myself a fair amount of decay. Let's switch this. I don't want that kind of click. What's going on here? Envelope. Can I do it in the samples? No, I can't. But yeah, that's something. It's kind of cool. Yeah, that would be kind of cool. Hey, let's find that out. I got an amen in here. Let's see how that would sound cool. MPC samples. I got my breaks. Let's see if there's an amen labeled in here. I've had these breaks for so long. That's all sped up. Sure, why not? Alright, so let's chop this up. Actually, no. We're going to do go. Let's try, let's do it longer. Alright. So we're just going to go in. Whoops. Turn off the follow. Convert this to a new program with new samples, and then we can go into my drum program and we'll change this to like that, and then oops, we want to go into LFO modulation cycle or yeah, I'd probably want to do the chops a little bit shorter. But yeah, you get the idea. It's a cool thing. Like you can probably do a lot of stuff with it. Like I don't want these chops anymore. BPM, time division. to program edit. Oh, I don't even know which ones are which. Totally overwhelmed here. I'll just choose some at random. Because random is the best. So. Anyways, you get the idea. You can probably figure out some cool kind of stuff with the cycling, or the random kind of. Do I have it on random? I'm not sure why it's why the volume kind of shifts like that. I think I have it on full volume, but as a sampler, this thing is pretty cool. Like there's a lot of kind of stuff you can figure out on it. So yeah. That's the cycle with the sample layers, and then each one you can also adjust the levels of each one. So, oops, I don't know what happened there. Let's just undo, 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 undo. Nothing. Go bounce bass. There we go. All right, you can adjust the level. You can fine tune the pitch. So if we go, whoops, if we go here, and this goes down like this. So that's pretty extreme, but we can try something like this. Oh. There we go. This is up to 35. But yeah. What else is there? There's also, yeah, you can offset it. You can move it back and forth. And you can send return effects to your things too. Like, so anyway, yeah, well, you know what? I think I'm kind of running out of ideas of what to talk about. I don't know, maybe next week we can start a new tune. Or maybe I can get everything in Ableton and actually do a mix down. I don't know. I need practice on mix downs. It's been a long time since I've really properly mixed down a track. Let's see, I tried to mix down my breaks track. Let's take a look at how that sounds. So I kind of created this breaks track in here. And no, I don't want to save any of that. You can sort of maybe I'll play some of this. You can hear the difference between what I've done in the MPC versus what's going on in Ableton. places. MPC card, MPC projects, breaks tune. Wow, I wonder which one. So that's sort of the mix down in the MPC. Sounds pretty full. So this is kind of what I kind of worked together in Ableton. Let me just flip to my Ableton screen. So this is the one where I just took the, I bounced out all the tracks and just kind of set it all up in Ableton. This might be a little loud. Hang on. So I added some vocals to it. So I have a lot more things like fills and shit like that. like the like the MPC version. Again, it was just kind of done like that last track. It was all done with track mutes, and it sounded pretty good the way it was. But you can just get so much more refinement when it comes to an actual DAW. So I feel like, especially for electronic music, where you want the intricacies sometimes. Like I find like a lot of people make hip hop in MPCs, and they're making a lot of backing tracks. So they're banging out these beats, and the beats are sick, and they sound really good, but they don't really need all that like the ear candy, all the little details, because the focus is going to be on the vocals. It's not going to be on all the little bits and pieces in there that you kind of hear in a lot of electronic music. So I'm still kind of sussing out the best way to do it, but I think I'm going to gravitate back towards Ableton. I just honestly, for the first couple months on this thing, on the MPC, I was having so much fun using it, and I was so burnt out on Ableton beforehand. I just didn't want to go back. Like honestly, for the first week and a half, or not week and a half, month and a half, I just didn't want to open Ableton at all. I just wanted to, I just wanted to use the MPC because it was fun. And then, the limitations came, and you can feel them. And yeah, I think the best route, especially if you're making electronic music, is use the MPC to get your ideas out, because you can get your ideas out really quickly on it. But yeah, making it live, like I got to figure out how to do that. Like right now, I feel like my finger drumming's not good enough yet. Like, I can do basic shit like kind of, that kind of shit. And this is better than I could do before. Like, that kind of shit. But I'm not going to be able to sustain that for a fucking set. And, and I can't do like one of the things that I've seen people do is they'll bounce out like, loops, like not necessarily loops, but like, 1 bar things from their tracks. And then they'll just put it on the pads. So you can just kind of basically trigger them like you would trigger a clip, but it's not quantized. It's not, so your timing has to be on. And I'm like, so the other way is doing the track mutes, and that's cool. And I think that's kind of the direction I want to go, where like if I'm, that, and then the rest of it maybe like triggering shit, and then so instead of like performing a whole set on an MPC, or just trying to do like everything on it, it's like DJ for a bit, and then do a bit of finger drumming, and then DJ some more, and then do like a live track, like a live mute track sort of performance. I don't know. I'm still trying to suss it out. But it is definitely something I want to incorporate. I mean, this thing is battery powered. It sounds good. It's got, it's fun to use. And yeah, I just want to figure out the best way to work out live performance on it. I think like the thing most people do is like after they've gotten their track, bounce down the loops, get your like basic drum patterns on the bottom, and then trigger samples on the top, kind of thing. Like you can hear it in, let me just start a new project here so I don't fuck up anything. Do you want to save the changes you made to the breaks tune? No, I don't. I don't even know what I did that would have been changing. But you can hear it in some of the user preset kind of stuff. So this drum kit has like all these samples, like. doing that kind of shit, which requires a whole lot more practice before I feel like I'm ready to take that public for people to see and check out. So, anyways, yeah, it's 11:20. This is a little bit earlier than I shut down last time, but I think I'm gonna call her a night, and yeah, I'm trying to figure out what I'm gonna do next week. Maybe I'll just start a new track and keep going from there. It's I think the thing I like the most about doing this on Mondays, it just forces me to, like, I'll work on tunes. Like, I'm working on tunes almost 7 days a week now, but like, I have this setup right now is also my home office, because I had to get a real job, and I've been working from home, and but I'll have the MPC on and next to me, and if I have to wait for anything, if I'm compiling a build, or if I'm like waiting on some engineers to get me some stuff, I'm like, well, let's work on this tune for like 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And yeah, it's been a lifesaver. Like, I feel like I couldn't do that if I were on Ableton, because I'm on my work computer and everything like that. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Thank you so much for hanging out. I will be back probably next. I'll be back on Wednesday. Wednesday is my DJ night. So, and then we'll see what's going to happen, because gigs are not happening, but inquiries are starting to happen. And yeah, I might actually be performing again. I don't know when or where or what's going to happen. I guess it's dependent on how things are. But yeah, I don't know if I'll have the same amount of time for streaming, but I definitely want to keep making music, and I definitely want to keep doing my cooking show, but that's going to be the tough one because that's Sunday afternoons. So I might have to move my cooking show to like Wednesday night or something, but we'll see. Yeah, once again, thank you so much for hanging out. My name is DJ Sue. If you are new here, give me a follow if you like, and give me a subscribe if you really like. I'm going to be DJing on Wednesday night. Usually start about 10 o'clock. I'm going to be doing my DJ cooking show Sunday, 4 p.m. This is all PDT. And I am actually playing a festival for an online festival for the Electric Love, one of their quarterly festivals on, I believe it's the 18th, as Rusty Cravers. So it's going to be a bit more of a house set, which is going to be interesting because I haven't played with my partner since last May. And yeah, and we don't have a place to rehearse anymore. We gave up our studio. And I can't rehearse at his house because he got a new baby. He can't rehearse at my house because I've got kids and a family. So we got to figure out a place to practice because we haven't DJed together in a very long time. So I don't know. Maybe we'll set up in a park somewhere with some battery-powered controllers and figure it out. And yeah, but that'll be fun. And that's going to be a on-site stream. So they're going to set up a full stage with visuals and everything like that. So I'm looking forward to that. I'll put that on my Facebook and whatnot, I believe, once it gets announced. All right. I'm going to shut her down. Once again, thank you so much. I'm going to spend the next little bit. I really got to mix down these tracks and put out this EP, and that's going to be coming out on Bandcamp. I had 6 tracks, and now this one will make it 7. I have another one that's on the go, so I might pick a couple and then ditch a couple, or not ditch, but save it for another release, but we'll see. I don't know. What do you think? Some people like the tight EPs, like the 3-4 track EPs. Other people, I've seen people call like 7-8 track EPs. I've also seen them call it albums, but we'll see. I don't know. Yeah. All right. I'm going to shut her down. Thank you so much. And thank you for hanging out, watching me fumble through my production. And yeah, all right. Have a good night.